Hi, and welcome to another reading with me, Lena. So today we have a pick a card that is for those of you that are looking to relocate. Just yesterday I was speaking to my cousin and we were talking about places we would like to relocate to, and it's just very strange how it's changed so much over the past 2 years. So if you have been thinking or been aiming to relocate to a certain place, it could be nearby, as in a few hundred kilometers or miles, or it could be maybe across the world. But you perhaps having second thoughts about it now, this one is for you. So we're going to try and identify geographic kind of locations that would be very good for you to relocate to at the moment, and that would give you the most long-term benefit in your life. And also we're going to be looking at what may be the major obstacle for it, or to get to that place, and then maybe a little bit of advice as well. So I hope this is going to be a quick reading, but if it's not, you may still want to get a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and choose one or two or even three to look at different locations or to look at different aspects of your life. But if you're thinking of emigrating, please pick one. Okay, so we're going to choose from 1, which is coral, 2, which is pumice, and 3, which is wood, bark. So we're still sticking with the earthy themes, and let's see what comes out for you. So we're going to start off with the coral, and let's see where would be a good place for you to relocate to. And so this is going to be the obstacle. I'm just going to leave it there for now. And we're also going to pick an advice card for you as we get to the end of it. But let's see what we can find out about the place and things like that. So we've got a door with the key, We've got the 6 of Wands on the flip side, the 3 of Wands on the flip side, and the King of Swords. We also have a fair exaltation, and then we have the magnifying glass, and I wanted to say the romance angel card. It's actually the moon. So what I'm getting from this is, for many of you, you are thinking of relocating to where your current love is, or where your spouse is perhaps going to. Perhaps it's your spouse that is relocating, or your partner is relocating to some place which is it's very bright. For some people it's like Mexico, or some nearby South American place. It's kind of arid. It feels very Latin, so it could also be Spain or Portugal. For some of you, it could be another desert region, perhaps in Africa, where there's a major festival, and there's, drumming is a big thing. So it could even be someplace, for 1 or 2 of you, it could be Ethiopia, but for if you're thinking about Ethiopia, it's really only for 1 or 2 of you. It's not for the majority of you. But it could be someplace like Morocco, or someplace nearby, which is very arid and which has a lot of sunshine. It could also be a place which is recovering from either a civil war or some other type of war. It doesn't feel like the Middle East, though. It feels it's either Africa or South America. And if it's not a major war, it could have been a period where the country went through some kind of massive upheaval, either politically or in terms of the communities and what the communities were experiencing. So that could have been during the past 10 years. And now the country's coming out into another better phase, and there's a lot of celebrations, there's a lot of festivals, particularly those that have to do with religion. So it could be quite a Catholic country, or have some very specific ancestral beliefs which are celebrated. For a few of you, especially if you're based in the EU, you may be thinking of relocating to some place like Malta or some place like Greece, where there's a very ancient tradition related to, again, religion. In fact, you could be studying or researching religion or something to do with religion, particularly to do with the mother traditions or the Venus traditions. So it could even be, some island like Patmos or some place like that where there's an ancient Venusian temple. At least I think there is. For others of you, like I said, it's got to do with your spouse or your partner's moving to some place like that and you're likely to go. And this is your opportunity. And I think it's one that comes about rather unexpectedly, and it's just so romantic. And perhaps you might have a very quick wedding if you're not already married before you move. But it's all very exciting, and you probably have a teeny little bit of doubt about it because you're not sure how deep this connection between you and your spouse is. It could have been that you and your partner or you and your spouse had a big distance between you, either emotionally or because one of you was far away. It was a long distance relationship, and you're not sure how the two of you are going to be able to combine and live in this new place. But this is not a relationship reading. This is to identify where you should go next and what the obstacle is. So the obstacle for your relocation is judgment. So it could be that either you don't speak the language, or it's such a different culture to what you used to that you can't really see, or you're afraid that you may be breaking some taboos or very inadvertently causing some kind of offense, either through the behavior, the way you talk, or the way that you dress. And that you fear that this may, you may be quite a shy person, and you may find it difficult to interact with people who don't have the same frame of reference as you when it comes to popular culture and when it comes to, just culture in general. It could also be that this place doesn't have a very good internet or other kind of technology infrastructure, and you're wondering if you can cope with it. And I think you can actually surprise yourself at how much you appreciate a different lifestyle. So a lot of it has to do with the lifestyle. You're not sure if you're ready to give up what you have to, go forward with something which you're not sure about. So your advice is, it may take a long time, but you will make it in the end. So if you have to learn a new language, you will eventually get the hang of it, even if it seems very foreign, even maybe alien to you in some respects. And it's just saying be persistent. So my general feeling about how you'll be there, whether or not you'll be happy. Actually, let me pick another deck for your long-term prospects there. Actually, you know what? Sorry if you picked coral. I should have actually used this deck. So I'm using the Hanson-Roberts because that's always, if you're thinking about taking your family or if it's long-term, I prefer the Hanson-Roberts. So let's look at the long-term prospects for you there. So interesting, we got Judgment reversed. So I think if you're having some kind of second thoughts about your spouse or your partner, it could be really, really difficult on your relationship. So if you can't, if you're going to be totally dependent on them for everything in this new place, then maybe it's not such a good move for you. Or maybe you should find something that you can sustain yourself with if anything went wrong in your relationship. It's not saying that anything will go wrong, because the 2 sevens, it's showing difficulties, but 2 sevens, when I read, normally means true love. So there is true love there. But it is not an easy path, and you are going to have a sense of isolation for a lot of the time, and it's possible that your spouse's or your partner's personality could change, or maybe yours will change. And like I said, with this big lifestyle change, perhaps you could end up liking the lifestyle more than them. Maybe they would want to leave after 2 or 3 years, and maybe you have gotten really involved in the community and you might want to stay. So there's all these different scenarios that could happen here, but what it does seem to indicate is that it's a very exciting prospect for you in the long term. It depends how adaptable you're willing to be and how much of work you're willing to put into this relationships. And I could say, if you're having doubts now and you're not married, then probably this is not the best time for you to relocate. And if you are married, and it's a time for you to reevaluate your priorities and what you want to need from your relationship and what you want to need from your life in general. But if you're just kind of like dragging anchor and not sure where you're going, it's saying you need to make a plan for yourself. You need to be sure that you can be independent in yourself and in, even socially, because it does seem like your partner or spouse is going to be working a lot, or in time you're going to be very involved. So be involved with the community. It feels like the community. So it's a very interesting read for you. So the locations, like I said, it seems like South America or Africa, the more arid parts of it, as well as Mexico. For some of you, it could be New Mexico. And for one or two of you, I'm just getting that now, it could even be one of the islands, which is very dry and arid. I'm trying to think what it is. The Canary Islands. For others of you, it could be Malta, or it could be certain parts of Greece, which is, or even Turkey, which has a long history of, of religious temples, as well as an really old cultural tradition, which is, goes back quite a few thousand years. So a very interesting one for you if you chose the coral. So I'm going to put these aside. Let's put them there. And let's go on with option number 2. So, yeah, thank you if you were listening to the coral. And let's go on to option number 2, which is the Pumice. And yeah, before I forget, thank you for liking and subscribing and commenting down below as well. It's always good to know what you think. So let's get into the reading. So this is going to be the obstacle. And let's see what location we can pick for you and what is likely to happen for your relocation. So we got the computer, we've got the 4 of Cups, the King of Wands on the flip side. Very interesting, the King of Wands was sort of reversed in the previous one. And the Knight of Wands on the flip side as well. We've got optimism, romance reversed, the Man, and the Rider. So it seems it's the season to want to go to be with your beloved or your partner. It's very similar to option number 1. So it could also be that maybe you're hoping that if with a move you can meet someone who's more to your liking. I feel with this, if you chose the Pumice, you're either coming out of a relationship and you're looking for a new relationship and you're hoping a change of environment and a change of scene is going to bring in someone new and exciting. And for others of you, it may feel like your partner is at a distance and that you want to go and be closer to them. And just have more time with them because you're kind of tired of only speaking to them on the internet. I think you've been doing a lot of research and you have a lot of ideas about where you would like to go. And I feel you are drawn to the north. You may live in the south and you are kind of sick of all the sunshine and all the heat, and it could even be humidity, and you're looking for some place which is a little bit quiet, which has a lot less, it has a lot less people. So maybe you want a place with a smaller population, whether it's in a small city or whether it's a small town or whether it's a country which has, a very small population. You're kind of tired of having people in your space, and even though you can see yourself living in a small space, you want it to be your own space, and you want there to be lots of nature around you, in particular to be able to see the night sky and to be able to, you may be studying astrology or something, or astronomy. You want to see the constellations, you want to watch the storms come in. So you are extremely excited about this. I'm trying to get any like countries or states. For some of you, it's Canada that you want to go to, and it could be the middle states, like maybe the Yukon or Saskatchewan. For one or two of you, you want to work with the First Peoples, but it's only one or two of you. Others of you may want to move to Newfoundland or the Labradorian coast. So again, very much like Canada. For others of you, you could be wanting to go to some place in the jungle. So it's kind of like at the back of your mind. It may actually be a short trip, because like I said, you're looking for some place without humidity and without all the heat. Although I suppose that those parts of Canada would get pretty hot in the summer. Okay, we'll see if anything else comes to me later, because at the moment I'm only really getting Canada. And you're either, like I said, hoping to get over a breakup, or to find new romance, or to reignite romance with your current partner. You're very optimistic. You want something more real than just romance. I mean, you like the romance, but you want something more real, and you want something which is, you want someone to be physically present in your life. And that, I think, is your main reason for moving. The other thing you really need in the place that you're relocating to, I feel that you work remotely, and you're either like a writer or creative or an artist, but particularly a writer or content generator, that you need the computer for whatever it is you're doing. Or maybe, you're a YouTuber, or you run an IT company. So whatever you're doing, you can work remotely, and you need that stable internet connection with a really fast internet or computers, internet service. So let's see what your obstacle is. We have a magician, so you don't really have an obstacle, except that you have too many ideas. You need to narrow down your locations, your ideas. Like I said, one of them could be the jungle, but it's at total odds with what you're thinking you really need. For some of you, it could be New Orleans. Maybe you want to go to New Orleans or some other place with that same kind of French flavor. But I don't think you want to go to Paris. I think you want to go to maybe Marseille, or one of the French, the old French colonies. For some of you, it could be Martinique, is it? But that also is not a very cold place. And for others of you, it could be French Guinea, is it called? Is it French Guinea? Something like that. I'm sorry, the place at the top of the South American continent. And that maybe that's where I'll be getting the jungle from. Although I have no idea what that place looks like. So if it's not a jungle and you're from there, please let me know. I need to know these things. So I don't really see any obstacles for you, because it seems like you work for yourself, and you could probably get a business visa, or immigrate as a business person. Or you could get a contract where you know, you can pretty much sort of sort things out that way. But it does feel like your mind is the problem. You haven't decided. There's so many possibilities. You haven't narrowed it down, and you haven't taken any action except to put it out there to the universe. But you haven't given a preference. So you could get 2 or 3 options coming in at once. And that's going to confuse you, and that could help you, or that could end up, you know, making you feel pressured to make a move. And, you know, it's more likely that way that you may not make the best move for you. So I'm trying to see if there's anything else. So we've got Canada, and we've got some place with a French flavor. Okay, so let's see what your advice is. It may not look good now, but wait until tomorrow and look again. So I think maybe you're also looking for like the perfect thing. You're looking for, which is good, but it's like, you know, you already found it, or maybe you found 2 versions of perfection, but you're thinking there is a third, or that you'd like a third. And it's, you know, it could be that if you don't act in time, you could miss an opportunity here. So I feel that the advice is also telling you to look in the long term, because your energy is very much short term at the moment, and that one which seems less than perfect may end up being your better option in the long term. So let's see what the long-term option says for you. So we got Death reversed, we've got the Ace of Cups reversed, we've got the 6 of Swords, the King of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles, and the Temperance. So I think it's telling you, don't make your decision based on love. So if you're looking at all those stats about your gender or preference to, you know, like the, what do they call it, the density of your preferred gender for romance in that region that you're looking at, that should not be what you should be looking at. What you should be looking at is your future, your future business, or your future happiness, and whether or not you're going to have balance in your life. So it's, even though your focus very much is on romance at the moment and bringing more romance into your life, it's telling you that for the next move you make, for the next relocation, you need to look at your long-term options and your long-term goals. And for 1 or 2 of you, it's going to be mainland or the south of France would be like your best option, especially if you are thinking about Provence and the lavender fields. For 1 of you, that is your best option in the long term, because it's going to bring you stability. And it could be that you already have links to that region, or you already have a way to get there very easily. So for the rest of you, I feel that you shouldn't just run away from this love situation. I mean, you should distance yourself, but emotionally, you have to sort of tie up the emotional wounds or the emotional threads before you can safely move on. Otherwise, this heartache that you're running from, or this breakup, or this person, or it's going to follow you. And if you are trying to follow your spouse, you need to deal with the emotional aspects as well, because there needs to be a change, an emotional change, but it's like being delayed because of the travel. So you need to address all of that first before you can move on, because you can move anytime you want. You can make it happen because you've got the Magician card there. You just have to deal with the now. Otherwise, the tomorrow is not going to be looking that good. So for this one location, we had Canada, especially the middle and the east coast. We had French regions from New Orleans up to mainland France, and we had, or southern France, and then we also had, there was one more, which I cannot remember now, but I'm sure you do. So that is what I have for you. If you chose the Pumice stone, I hope it was useful and helpful, and that your journey, both emotionally and with the person either coming in your life or in your life already, is quick and easy, and everything is sorted out very well. So thank you for listening if you chose the Pumice stone, and for liking and subscribing. And we're now going to go on to option number 3, which is the mystery bark. And if you like the reading, then please subscribe, like, and comment at the end. Thank you. So let's look at this, which is we'll look at that last. Sorry, what is this? I don't know. Okay, so we're gonna look at this. So you may be a little bit distracted. Okay, so this is your obstacle. We're gonna start off first with this card, which is choice. Let's try to find where you should relocate to and what the obstacles are. So you've got the Wheel of Fortune on the flip side, you've got the 5 of Cups, you've got the Page of Wands on the flip side, you've got Lust, you've got Concentration, and did I not mention something about distractions just now? You've got the Well, and you've got the Tower. So you're very much in two minds about this. You have been trying to make something happen, and I think you want to start anew, but you just feel that sometimes you don't have any choice, that there's always a massive obstacle for you, and it seems like something may be going on, it may be seeming to happen, and then the next thing you know, something else happens, and you lose ground in achieving that goal, or something doesn't pan out, and it's, you end up being isolated and in the same place, or even kind of worse off from where you started. So I feel you really get distracted by material things. So if you're saving up to relocate, you may suddenly find that you splurged on a foodie shopping, or that you went out a lot, or that you spent a lot on your partner or on a date, and you find that you keep sort of frittering away the opportunity or the resources to make those move. Let's just see, that seems more like an obstacle, and then we got strength, so it goes very well with lust. So it could be that it's something you want to do, but you haven't found the willpower to make it happen yet, for some of you. For others of you, you want to move, but you're very much in lust with someone, and you don't want to leave them behind, or it's a push-pull kind of relationship where you want to go, but you don't want to go, because when it's good, it's really good, and when it's bad, it's like really, really, really bad. So you're kind of like, one day you're this, one day you're that, and you're not sure if you should make this move, but you want to. But anyway, let's see what kind of places we're getting for you. So for some of you, I'm getting Boston, or another very old university town. It could even be like Oxford, so perhaps you want to study further, or you are an academic and this is your way forward. For others of you, It could be some place with a very prominent volcano. So it could be, for example, Indonesia. Or it could be that you are already in Indonesia and you want to leave to go to some place which has a very good university, or has the kind of old university that you want to study at. If it's not Indonesia, perhaps, it's Iceland that you either at or you want to leave. Or it could even be, where else do we have, it could be someplace in Italy. If it's Italy, then it's not the universities you're interested in, it's the architecture. So perhaps you are in architecture, or you want to study architecture or some other related design. For one or two of you, you want to go to Milan as well. So perhaps be going on to the more design side of things. But for everyone else, basically you want to go somewhere which has a very old European-based or Western type of history. So you don't want to be in any place that is too colonial. So you want to be, for some of you, you want to return to what you consider is your motherland. And that could be, from any type of place, any kind of region. But you just cannot seem to get the resources there because you're always in a relationship or spending it on things that you like or want or need, and if it's not food, it's clothing or perfume or a car, and you just need to sort of change your mindset a bit to try to achieve this. And I feel it's something you always thought you wanted to do, and a place that you wanted to go. But it also feels like it's not very urgent, that you feel you'll have time to do it later on in life. And maybe this is why you keep frittering it away. So you've got, your advice is remember the feeling. Remember feeling good. You will again. So you can do it. And, for one or two of you, it could be that you have a health problem and that is the obstacle. But for most of you, I feel it's got to do with either a relationship or not exercising your willpower to save or to gather the resources for this move. It could even be something like you need to get your passport, but you just don't make the time for it because you're doing something that's more fun. And you need, you always have regret over not getting it done in time because perhaps your friends have already left and done this and you're not getting onto it. It could also be that you want to do something like work on board a ship or work on board a yacht or work on board or work in some other place where you have it doesn't have you like going to different places, almost like a tour guide, and there isn't one sort of major location, but it's traveling to different places that you're based on you're based on a ship or something like that. But you need to get something in order. So if it is for shipboard or something like that, it could be that you need either a certification or you need some kind of health clearance or other clearance, and that you just haven't gotten everything, that all the resources or paperwork sorted out, and it's just, you need to decide whether or not you really want this. And remember that if it is something like being on board a ship, there is a time limit, as in it's not something you can do when you're in your 40s or 50s. You need to do it before you reach a certain age. So that is what I'm picking up for here. But let's look at your long term. If you do actually go to this place that you're thinking of, whether it's your motherland or whether it's working on a ship or whether it's to some place that has all this old European culture, then we've got the Nine of Wands reversed, the Seven of Swords, the Hierophant reversed, the Eight of Cups reversed, the Knight of Wands reversed, and the Page of Cups. So I think this will show you a different side of yourself. It will be a massive identity crisis for you, and you'll have a really steep learning curve, and you'll learn to commit to people and situations more. I mean, you would have to in a way, but you will also find a lot of creativity and perhaps even a very sort of innocent, beautiful kind of love that you haven't yet experienced. So it looks like it's got, in the long term, very good things for you to look forward to. And I think if it is like, you know, we had the last card, if you are in lust with someone, leaving that situation and going to this new place is going to bring you an innocent, more sort of playful, more kind of less intense but more playful and possibly more long-term relationship than what you currently have. So it's definitely going to teach you about commitments and teach you mostly about yourself and how you're different from everybody else around you, or how you at the moment, or what it is that you really want in life. And I think maybe that's what it is, and maybe this is why you're not feeling good about yourself. And yeah, you do need to find a way to exercise your self-control. So that is what I have for you if you chose option number 3, which was the wood, and this has gotten a lot longer than it was supposed to. So if you liked it, please like and subscribe. Let me know what you think, and let me know where you're going, and whatever it is you're doing, good luck with it. Take care and keep those vibes high. Bye.